exactly on your own charts exactly how things work. Okay. So I apologize. I don't see it. If one of you guys can help me with that down the line, I'll be researching it as well to kind of figure out exactly how that works. I'm very disappointed. Dang it. Um, anyway, I guess we'll just talk. I'll just walk you through it. So, bottom line is, one of the things that you guys have to understand, I'm going to be posting up the results of our trading from last week. Okay. And that's why I wanted to show you the charts and kind of relate it so that you guys can kind of understand exactly the perspective of a Forex trader. Okay. All right. Good afternoon from Brooklyn. All right. We got Brooklyn in the house. And again, I apologize. This is not the best stream. And I should switch over to my regular phone since this is it, but it's okay. We're already on here. So it is what it is. So the bottom line is what I want to go over today for you guys to help you with your trading career is to really understand what a real Forex trader, how they really make their money. Okay. And part of that, and a lot of people want to hear about market psychology, but the truth of the matter is almost every successful Forex trader that I know, and the ones that I don't know, but they are successful, they all go through the same channel that the average person go through. For an example, some of you guys can look this up. Um, Karen Fu or Karen Fo, Foo. I respect her, what she does. You know, she's an Asian lady. I think she's in Singapore or somewhere like that, but she has a YouTube channel and she does videos. I looked at her last channel just for an example to kick off what we're going to be talking about today. Nigeria in the house. All right. Welcome to from Nigeria. So I watched her video, the last one or two that she did, but it was like in the last three videos. I don't know how many she's done since then. Zambia in the house. We got people from all over the globe. I love it. Love our little family. But she had talked about how Forex traders who are on the professional level, what their average win rate is. And I was astonished myself because we're actually exceeding that, we're exceeding what they're doing. But she said the average, and I'm sorry that my shirts may have spots on it, this and that. I just got done working out in my gym trying to lose weight and stuff. So it may be a little bit dirty, but I want to be on time for the video today to teach. But she talked about their win ratio. And what she mentioned about their win ratio, she said a lot of it, and she mentioned somebody, I forgot who it was, but she said these large firms that manages millions of dollars, I believe. And again, you can watch the video for yourself. But she mentioned about how they actually only have like a 55 or 60% win rate. And yet they make a lot of money. So how do a person do that? Now we do better than that, but how do you actually make money and recover after losses? This is the biggest thing that will attack, and write this down. You guys want to take notes today because I'm going to bless your soul. How do you emotionally recover after losses? Because this is the thing that destroys most traders. This is also the very thing that destroys most entrepreneurs. Whether you're a trader, run a real estate business, run a restaurant, t-shirt business, network marketing, it's all under the same umbrella because it requires a certain level of mental strength that the average person doesn't have. Type amen if you get me so far, okay? Because Forex is always in flux. In other words, and this is why I want to show my charts, and I'm sorry, this is my very first time trying to stream from the desktop. I thought it would allow me to share my screen so that I can do it simultaneously on the live screen, but on the live stream, but it doesn't. So, oh well, whatever. But what I want to show you guys is, and I taught on this in class last week and the week or the week before, but I was showing my students that a lot of times what people don't understand is that the way that the markets create those higher highs and higher lows is through going up and then pullbacks, up and then pullbacks. We all know this, but the problem is when these swings in the market happen, it's sporadic and we don't necessarily anticipate these moves, and then we take hits on our portfolio, and it not only hits our portfolio, but watch this, it also hits our mentality. Because what happens is the average trader began to get discouraged. When you first started trading, you got full of excitement because you're seeing how other people were making money online and you want to quit your job. You have aspirations for buying a new house, supporting your family, whatever that dream is. Watch this. And that dream is attached to the markets now. But the markets are unstable. And so when a loss happens, It doesn't just hurt your bottom line, meaning your trading account, it hurts your bottom line in your emotional account. And so now your emotional account is being depleted. And it's hard for you to keep bouncing back and to keep on going on the journey. Type of amen if you're with me so far, if you're following with me. I want to make sure you guys get this because this is what separates the successful traders from those who are not. It is not the fact that your win ratio might be bad. Because a lot of these major companies and institutions, when you lost a trade, oftentimes so did they at the same time that you did. And yet they make a lot of money, but you're saying, well, what's going on with me? Okay. The difference is it's their ability to bounce back because they're not taking it personal. This is a very nonchalant type of business. And if you're a high energy, high emotional state person, such as myself, then this is going to be a very tough journey for you. Not because of the markets themselves, because the markets have been doing the same thing for before you were born, but it's the fact that your type of personality, you're attaching your win ratios, loss ratios to a personal identity of, am I personally a good person, bad person? Am I a success versus a failure? And so therefore it makes it tough for you to bounce back from the losses that everybody, including large institutions, incur. This is why I like listening to videos from successful people. For an example, this morning, right before I met with you guys, I was in my gym and I have a flat screen TV in my gym, which I should be a whole lot more muscular, seeing that I got a gym in my house, but in a flat screen to entertain myself. And I got all the gym equipment. I just don't like going in there, right? My emotional state, I'm trying to fix that. But the deal was today, Bishop T.D. Jakes, he talked about the fact that he said, what we're failing to do is to explain to people what it costs me to be who I am. He talked about how he used to, and I didn't even know this. He said, he talked about how he would thumb it to church. Now he's preaching faith, but he had to thumb it to church all that time. And then he talked about how he was preaching, but then he had lost his job and then he had to go dig ditches and his fingers were raw and bleeding because he had to help his brother dig ditches to earn enough money to put food on the table. He talked about how he used to drive his car back when he was broke, but still preaching and being consistent, and how he was trying to go, he would put his car into neutral to coast down a hill but then only turn the car on to go up a hill just to save gas so he can have enough money to put food on his table. See, we see the end story of successful people, but we don't know what they go through. And I'm here to tell you today that you're on the right path, you're doing the right thing. The only thing you're missing is detaching your emotions and becoming consistent in your efforts. Now, what I wanted to do while I'm doing this live stream on my desktop versus my phone is because I really wanted to show you guys our trade results from last week, which we actually had in the Signals group 10 winning trades and 5 losses and 3 that we closed out at break even. And I'll explain this because I wanted to go step by step to show you this. Because for me, I've never been, but I'm noticing that I'm becoming a perfectionist. I don't like losing. I don't like, as it with anybody, you don't like losing anything. Okay, that's Warren Buffett's number one rule. Do not lose money. So when I lose trades, I'm very analytical. I really want to go back and dig deep and find out what actually happened, because it wasn't that my routine changed. It wasn't that what I was looking for on the technical analysis process changed. None of that changed. And they worked before, but why didn't it work now? Okay, some of you guys are there now. Why did it work before, but it's not working now? Type of amen if you agree with that. Because some of the things that you've done, it was working for a minute, but now it's not working. What in the hell is going on? And excuse my French, but that's the way you feel. Type of amen if you agree. Because we're doing real talk today. That's why I wanted to do this live stream so I can share my charts with you and so you guys can see what I'm seeing on your own. Whether you're using my trading system or not, I have my charts there all right here set up on the second screen. And I had it set up with just, some regular trend lines, some Fibonacci. So you guys can, without my trading system, you can still see this is what separates the successful from the failures. And it's not the charts. It's not your technical analysis. There's something else. So I'm going to show that to you today. And I wanted to show you our trade results. Again, we were 10 wins, 5 losses, 3 break evens, and 1 that we're holding over the weekend. Okay. But I don't care how many times I won the trade. The most important thing to me is the ones that I lost, because they tell me whether I need to adjust what I'm doing or what story fell behind it. And so basically, well, I'm just going to have to narrate since I can't display it and show you guys, and I apologize for that. When I looked at what trades we actually lost, I actually felt better. Watch where I'm going with this because this is going to help you. Okay? Because this is what all successful people have to do. It's great about the wins, celebrate them, but I'm trying to clean up the losses as well so I can have more wins. So when I'm losing, I'm like, okay, well, what the hell is different? And Lord, forgive me for being blunt, but that's the way we feel. And so I'm like, okay, why did these work out, but these didn't? I did the same routine that I did last week and the week before that, and this, and this. But then why? It's what's wrong. Watch this keyword. And this is what some of you guys have to fight with and get this out your vocabulary. What is wrong with not the charts, not the indicators, not the market? The question you ask yourself is, well, what's wrong with who? Me. You see how you just made it personal? You see how that happens? You made it personal. And this is just business. But it's hard to separate. And listen, I'm being honest with you guys. The Bible clearly warned us about this situation. So before you continue your trading journey, and whether you believe in the Bible or not, the principles are the principles, and you need to acknowledge it and fix it, or else you may be in the wrong business. The Bible says, where your treasure is, there will your corazón, for my Hispanic family, your heart be also. Now, when it talks about your heart, the heart doesn't mean the one beating in your chest. What it actually is talking about is your soul, which is your mind, your will, and your emotions. Now you have tied your money and you married it to your soul. In other words, how you feel about yourself after you've lost money, now you combining those two when the soul shouldn't be in it. Because the soul is full of emotions and thought processes and feelings and all these other things that the ball game of the markets does not require. And you're having a hard time disconnecting your soul from your money. But that's exactly what makes a lot of successful people successful because they have the ability to disconnect their soul. Power off. Oh, that's my speaker. Sorry, y'all. They have the ability to disconnect their soul from the process. And those who are high emotional people, or those who's trying to struggle to come up and make a living and make a difference, and you're trying to do it through the markets, this is where you're going to have your hardest battle because it's hard for you to disconnect your money from your mind and your mind from your money. Ain't that the truth? Okay, we're on the grind to make that money. And so now, because of how we're going about it, we're attaching how we feel to the outcome. We're attaching our perception of ourselves to the outcome. And that's a big mistake. So here's what I actually did. And we're not going to be long today, but here's what I actually did. And I'm so sorry I can't show you the charts. That's the reason why I'm doing it from my desktop. I thought by doing a live stream, you can do it that way. But oh well, it is what it is. So what happened was I went back and I looked at all of we won 10 trades. That's great. That's great. But for me, I don't care. I want to know what happened with the other ones. Why did they not work out? Well, lo and behold, I knew the Great British Pound. Follow me on this. And I'm showing you my process. I'm letting you in on my personal process on how to emotionally recover after losses. Because I need to know, was it something I did wrong with my process? Was it something wrong with my technical analysis? Was it something wrong with my fundamental analysis? What am I missing? I mean, let's be real. Some of y'all, let's be real. Hell, what am I missing? What am I doing wrong? Why do I see other people succeeding and I keep stumbling? And Lord, again, forgive me for being blunt, but this is the truth because the Bible says, what will set you free? The truth will set you free. So you're sitting up there saying, what in the hell is going on? I'm trying to follow what everybody else is doing. I'm doing technical analysis. I'm drawing trend lines. I'm spending hours upon hours upon hours on the charts. I'm separating myself from my family. I don't get to think straight. I can't eat straight. I'm on these charts all day. I'm staring at my phone as soon as the market open. I'm tired. And yet, after all that I have put into the charts, my account doesn't look any better. Is that not the truth for some? Type of amen if you, and you ain't got to say you, but type of amen if you know some people who dealing with that. Okay? All right? I ain't say you, but type of amen if you know some people who have experienced it. Okay? All right? That's the truth. That's the truth. So what is the difference? So here's what I like to do. And I'm giving you my process to make sure I'm detaching me from the process. Okay, and keeping it strictly business. In other words, don't sleep with the part with your partner in business. Okay, unless you're married to them, because if things go wrong with the relationship, it will end up affecting the business. So you keep them separate. See, I don't want to get emotionally tied to the market. I just want the market to be the market, and then I want my relationship with my wife to be the emotional thing. I don't want to mix them in. Okay, I don't want to put too much emotion into the market when the market don't have no emotions. It just take people money or you take its money. It's a zero sum game. It is what it is. Let's call it a thing, and let's keep it moving. Okay, now here it is. I went back and all the way up until this morning, about an hour ago, to find out about the losing trades. Okay, here's what I found out. Now I knew, and I posted this in the signals group. I'm still happy that we walked away with 10 wins. That was a darn near impossible for a lot of people. Why? Because last week there were literally, and I counted, and you go to your MyFX book app from last week, and you will see there were over 60 red high impact news events, over 60 of them last week. It's darn near, but that's why I told the signals group, I say, hey, we survived hell week, because that's what I call it. I call it hell week, because when you have over 60 high impact news events and you can walk away with profit, hell, you're doing good. Lord, forgive me for being so blunt with my tongue. I don't usually do, but I'm just being straightforward with you, because this is the way it feels. So if you made money after last week, you still doing good. You need to applaud yourself for finding success when there were over 60 high impact news events all in the same week. Okay, now let's get to what I'm talking about. That's great. But what bothered me is that I still, and I know this, and you be saying, well, Uncle P, why is you tripping if you knew that there was 60 high impact news events? Y'all still won 10 trades. You lost some, but you still made profit. I don't care. Again, in this business, I have to work on my emotions because I'm becoming a perfectionist, because I don't want to lose nothing. Although I know I need to leave a margin of error, because you're going to have losses in the business. But for me, I don't like them, as don't you. So I want to know what's going on here, player. Okay. I'm just like the average trader. I want to know, was it me or was it something I missed? What was going on? And here's what I found out all the way up until an hour. So here's what I found out. First of all, I went back through, and I'll post the results. I've already posted it in group, the signals results. Which, by the way, let me do this since y'all uh, can't see my charts, and I'm sorry about that. I'm really upset about that. I really wanted y'all to be able to see this live. That's why I want to do it from my desktop. I never do it. This is my first time ever doing a video from my desktop. And that was because I wanted to share my charts, but it won't allow me. So what's the point of doing it from my desktop? I could do it from my phone on the beach. So I'll just talk you through this. So as far as the scalping group, they have made 2,184 pips, and the reason why their pips are higher is because they tend to trade the indices, which means you can flip a small account into big money really really quick by scalping it. Okay, I don't like swing trading the indices, but I do like scalping them myself. But Miss Jenny heads it up, and so they did pretty well last week. Okay, but as far as for us, we were 10, 5, and 3 break evens and 1 hold. Okay, so what happened with the other ones that we lost? Here's what I actually found out that gave my heart comfort. Notice what I'm doing. I ain't consulting my heart and I ain't consulting my feelings. I had to get out of my feelings and do my homework to find out what really happened. So thank God I did that methodology. And I hope you're listening and writing this down for those who's tuned in now and the people who will be watching this later. You better hear exactly what I'm saying, because I'm taking you literally into the head of Uncle P. Literally, you're going to be in my thoughts now, because I'm going to tell you the truth about what was in my head. I was pissed beyond measure, because I knew I was right on my analysis. I knew it. And I'm like, man, we finna make a boatload of money off of this stuff, right? All right. Notice that I blinked out on the ones that we did win. I didn't even give them any credit or credence, as I should have. But I didn't give myself credit for the ones that did work out. I went straight to the ones that didn't. Ain't that how human nature is? We're so ungrateful. I'm telling you, I'm taking you into my head. If you don't want to be here, tune out. Don't listen. But I'm taking you into my head. I'm ungrateful because thank God that I did win the ones that I did. Okay? Did very well on them. But human nature tells me I still wanted more. So what happened? Here's what happened. I said, okay, let me get out of my feelings. Let me get out of my feelings. I did the same routine. I did the same analysis that helped me win the other trades that I did on these. Well, thank God I got out of my feelings because here's where the blessing came in. Hear me. Here's where the blessing came in. I went back to not technical analysis, which is where some of you guys are making your big mistake. You're constantly going back to the charts because you think that you made a mistake on the charts. And that's why you're constantly flipping over and over. You're rotating all these trading systems, new strategies, and stuff like that over and over and over again. I mean, some of you guys, you got at least 1,000 indicators and 1,000 strategies in your head and on your charts, and you're still not finding success. And that is because you're making the mistake of thinking that it was something that had to do with technical analysis. It had nothing to do with it. That is why I'm taking you into my head. I thank God for delivering me from that process of thinking, well, maybe I just need to start with a new trading system, or maybe I need to. No, it literally had nothing to do with technical analysis. That is why I was trying to do this live stream from the desktop for the first time so I can show you the charts and you guys could have followed along. But why don't you, when we're done with this, I want you to go to the GBP pairs and take a look from the different time frames, whatever floats your boat. Okay. But here's what actually happened. Remember, I said there was over 61, 64. I think it was over 60. I know it was maybe 62 or 64 high impact news events. Well, guess what? Out of that, the Great British Pound or the GBP, okay, it got slapped around like a pimp, hit it upside his head. And here's the reason why. Because, oh, before I tell that story, let me scale back. All right. So out of our trades that we lost, here's what we actually did. We took two trades early in the week on the Great British Pound, the GBP. And those two lost. And I'm like, what the heck? Right? But what happened was news came out, and I'm like, okay, I can accept that. So that was two of them. That's cool, no problem. I say, like I normally do, which is what most professional traders do. They keep an eye on it. If they lose on that pair, but they knew their analysis was right, then they know it had to do not with their technical analysis, but watch this with their. I want to see if one of y'all get it. If it's not your technical analysis that was the problem, what was the other issue? We got a few people in here. Type in there. What do you think it is? What was the issue? Because this is going to help you guys. I'm blessing you and I need your participation because I want you to figure this out. If it's not technical analysis, which almost every trader is always focused on only technical analysis, what was the other issue then? Anybody? Let me see what you get. I'm waiting on y'all. Any one of y'all can figure it out? Okay, Mario said the trader itself. Anybody else? Come on with it. You're going to think with me. See, because this is the problem. You don't have mentors. Okay. Akeem said emotions. See, I'm glad we're doing this because I'm gonna help you guys. Okay, Keen said emotions. Who else? Come on, talk, talk. When you come to class, learn to talk because you can grow. We can grow together. You don't have to be part of Super Easy Forex. That's cool, but we're still retail traders, so we have to learn together because we don't have a lot of support out there. Most people trying to take your money. Okay, they are. Okay. I don't care whether you join us or not. Do your thing, but you need to learn this. And one more. I'm looking for wait. Okay, there you go. Woo! I like that. Patrick Artis and then T Brown. But I want to Patrick hit it first. And you know why? I love that. Fundamentals. See, it had nothing to do with you. That's the point. It had nothing at all to do with you. The reason why the GBP crashed, and I'm going to explain this to you, and this is how I heal my broken heart after a loss. Because if you don't get this, then you're going to always be brokenhearted and think that you need to trade up your trading system, get a new indicator, trading strategy, whatever it is. But that had nothing to do with it. Here's what actually happened. The GBP came out with the interest rates, and for my students who will be watching this later, you darn sure better have been on point with this, because I have taught you how to understand how countries announce their interest rates before they're announced. And we have been accurate for the last several months on how interest rates are announced, including the USD, which announced their interest rates. We discussed it in class. I told you they wasn't going to touch them interest rates, and I told you exactly why. I gave you the whole perspective of how they think from the feds and other countries on why and when you can anticipate they're going to raise their interest rates. So I taught you guys this, and I also taught you free here on YouTube. So every person who had been tuning into my YouTube channel and those who's in my class, you should have known better. But here's what actually happened. Okay. And I'm gonna explain this, then I'm gonna tell you about the results. What happened. So because when the interest rates came out, I knew that they ain't gonna touch them things. They gonna leave it exactly where it is. And there's multiple reasons why. You can watch some of my prior videos and find out what I'm talking about, or if you're in my class, you should know already. But the point is, I knew that they weren't going to raise interest rates. And so GBP came out with theirs, they left it unchanged. The USD, they came out with theirs, they left them unchanged. Just like I told y'all they're going to do. They ain't fooling with them. They're not going to. They can't afford to. So I knew that. So why did we lose? Oh, here's where it get good. I had to get out of my own personal feelings and do some fundamental homework, because my analysis was, watch this, my analysis was correct. So how could I lose the trade if my analysis was correct? I knew the interest rate announcement before they knew it, and I'm just a black guy with a baseball hat. How did I know that? Because I did my homework and I learned how they do their interest rates before they announce them. So I wasn't surprised. So yeah, I was taking some trades on the GBP. We took too early in the week, and I anticipated these things should work out just fine, but they didn't. And that's fine, no problem. Knee-jerk reaction, I'm thinking to myself, whatever. But that ain't what happened. What actually happened was, watch this, because the government is good for doing this, and I hope they don't censor my video. But if they do, at least y'all watching it live. That's the blessing. What actually happened was, is that the people who is over the GBP made a promise, and I taught y'all about this about a month or two ago. I taught y'all here on YouTube and in class. I taught y'all about how they be lying. So what they did to the investors, they promised that they were going to raise the interest rates. Okay, that's what they made a promise to the investors. But the investors, and you would think Uncle P with the black guy with the baseball hat from the hood, how could he know more than these big investors? Because I taught y'all all of this here on YouTube and in my class. I taught y'all that. Why did these people just come to my class and they save the money? So here's what happened when they didn't raise the interest rates, which y'all knew shit they wasn't going to do that if you tuned in my channel or if you were in my class. Y'all knew they wasn't going to raise them interest rates, but the big investors thought they would because they promised that they would do it. You said you was going to raise these interest rates. And what happens, and just so in case this is your first time tuning in, when they raise interest rates, that currency also becomes more valuable and it goes up. So in other words, had the GBP interest rates been raised last week, the Great British Pound would have shot up, because the more interest you can gain on a currency, it's like buying any investment. If you're going to buy an investment like Shiba Inu, for an example, for those who trade crypto, I made a boatload on Shiba Inu, right? I made a boatload. But why did I buy it? Because I expected it to do what? Go up in value from the place that I bought it, right? Because of Elon Musk and all the hype around it, herd mentality, I just knew no matter what, it's going to go up. And it did. See, I knew that. But here's the problem. They promised, the government promised that they were going to raise interest rates. So everybody invested their money who didn't attend Super Easy Forex or wasn't a part of the Super Easy Forex family. They silly selves, they believed the government. And so when the announcement came out last week that they were supposed to raise interest rates and they didn't, which means ain't nobody making no profit on their investment. If you hint that you're going to raise interest rates, that means whatever I'm holding, it should go up in value by the amount of interest rates that you say. So if it goes up a quarter point or 0.25%, that means if I bought in early, my investment into your currency should go up by 0.25%. Are y'all understand what I'm saying? Come on now, wake up with me. Come on, wake up with me. I'm almost done, but I need y'all to be woke to understand how these currencies work when there are news announcements. I'm teaching you fundamentals, okay? And I'm gonna pretend like some of y'all ain't never tuned into my channel, because if you've been tuning in, you shouldn't have known this, because I taught y'all this a long time ago for free. Okay. And if you're one of my students, I taught you in even more detail. So you really should have known this. Type amen if you understand what I'm saying. Okay. Follow along with me, people. Follow along. Follow along. Because here you know more than some of these people on the big Wall Streets and this and that. Okay. They have their way of doing things. We have our own. And I'm talking about how to heal your heart from losses. Okay. So the bank over the Great British Pound basically lied. And so when they actually came out and had to make an announcement based off of a prior promise, they didn't move the interest rates. They left them exactly the same. So all those people who bought in early are sitting there holding the Great British Pound and are not going to make any money off of it. It's equivalent to me when I bought crypto, Bitcoin, back when it was $9,000. It's up to 60K now. But when it was back at $9,000, that's when I started buying Bitcoin. Now, what if I was promised that Bitcoin was supposed to hit 100,000, and then when it came out, Bitcoin said, "Well, you know what? We think we was just joking. Huh? It's actually going to go to 6,000, or we'll just leave it at 9,000." Well, if I invested with the assumption that in the future it was going to go up based off what your analysis was, what you told me as a company owner, that it was going to go up, I bought in today with future promises. Well, where did those future promises come from? From you, for your raggedy behind. And that's what they did basically. Okay. Your raggedy behind told me that I was going to get some money or some interest off of if I invested today. You said on the next announcement, you was going to raise some interest rates, which mean my investment should have went up. And when the announcement came out, you lied. You left it exactly where it is. What the freaking and bleep, bleep, bleep. And so what happened was people overreacted and they dumped the Great British Pound. And they did it ferociously. They were pissed because the government had promised to raise interest rates. You buy our currency today, on our next announcement, we're going to raise them interest rates by at least a quarter point, which means you're going to walk away with about 25% extra on top of the investment that you did, brother. I got you. And then when the announcement came out, they did nothing. They did nothing. And therefore, people dumped the GBP ferociously. Now watch this. I said all of that for a reason. I'm being theatrical today, huh? But I got to give it to y'all in a ghetto way where you get to understanding of where the big players got suckered. Meanwhile, you guys who've been tuning in and watching my channel, you already knew they weren't going to raise them interest rates. So even if they had promised that, y'all knew and I knew they ain't going nowhere with it. So I took the trades based off of what I knew they was going to do, not off of what they promised. So early in the week, yeah, we took 2 trades off the Great British Pound. They lost, but I'm like, okay, it's cool. I'll wait towards the end of the week when the market slow down, absorb the news like it normally does. And that's when you get those, when you see sharp drop downs, and I got literally the GBP USD on my charts right now as we speak. On the 4-hour, if you go to your 4-hour time frame, go look at it yourself, and you will see that now where it sits, it just made a big candle on that. And I just have to walk you through this because I have my screen up literally right here to show you guys, but it won't let me share it, and I'm pissed about that, right? But the point is, go to your own 4-hour time frame on GBP USD, but go through all the GBP pairs, and you'll see they got dumped bad. Why? Now watch the beautiful part, and I'm gonna close out. On the one hand, it's a blessing. On the other hand, it's a curse. Because what happened was I knew that, okay, y'all pissed about it, but y'all will get over it, and then we'll jump back in and the 2 trades that we lost on early on, we'll just hop back in them later on and we'll recover our money back. That's what we do. That's what professional traders do. Notice I had to go back to just simply doing technical analysis and understanding the market conditions, because that's normally what happens. After a big news event, you get a big knee-jerk reaction, and then after that, it drops and then it recovers within about 24, within a couple of hours typically, but for the most part, within 24 hours, 48 hours, that's typically about the range where, okay, we ain't pissed no more. And then the market goes back to under to its normal pattern of technical analysis, and therefore you can go back after a loss and recover on the same exact trades that you lost before. If you don't remember, last week I did a video on re-entries on our trades. Why do we do re-entries and won the money back? Because a lot of times a news event comes out, it does a knee-jerk reaction, then after that people calm down, get their senses back, and the market resumes back to normal, and you can get right back in on the same trade you lost and recoup that money and keep it moving. I talked about this in last week's video. So go back to the signals results from last week's video and you'll understand what I'm talking about. So I know that works because I've been doing it for the longest. However, this particular time, we waited till the end of the week to get right back in on the GBP to say, okay, y'all was pissed. All right, I'm cool. Y'all feel better now? That's what I was asking. Is everybody cool now? Y'all feel better now? And so based on the setup, it looked like, okay, they done what they being pissed area, right? Because it was hitting certain support levels and this and that. Normal technical analysis. We get into the trades, and lo and behold, they were still pissed. They was pissed beyond measure. They were still dumping it. And so then we took 2 more hits. So when I look back through the losses, and here's the conclusion. See, unless you're documenting your trades, you won't be able to get to this what I'm talking about. Because when you document your trades, you can actually see certain ones. Okay, first I want to know, I started looking at, okay, we took some hits on the chin. I didn't like it, but it's okay. It happens. But I want to know why. Was it something I did, or do I need to tweak what I'm doing? Whatever. But what I noticed is the ones that we actually lost on, because without those, we would have been 10-1, which means we would have on 10 trades and only lost 1 without that GBP. Because we took 2 in the beginning of the week and then we lost them, but we was going to recoup them back like we normally do and make it back. So that would have been fine. Okay, it would have been in the wash. And that means we only would have lost 1 trade on Euro AUD, the other 10, so we would have been 10-1. Okay, notice my analysis. Notice how I'm talking my heart through it so my heart don't feel bad. So now looking at the fact that, okay, it was all because of other people's emotions, not my own. Other people's emotions who had big money got emotional and pissed about the lie. That is the reason why they continue to keep dumping the pound. That's why. It literally had nothing to do with me and my analysis. So at the end of the day, when I looked at how many losses I had, which is why you should keep a trading journal and keep track of your trades. So at the end of the week, you can say, okay, I see that, oh, without this, it would have been a clean trading week, because it was simply other people's emotions that affected why technical analysis. And I don't care whether you use Fibonacci levels. That's why I wanted to show you the charts so you guys can see this. It didn't matter whether you use Fibonacci levels, whether you use trend lines, whether you use the Donchian channels, whether you use the Elliott wave theory, whatever. When the market feels emotional and it's pissed, it's complete chaos, and you could have been the best trader on the planet and it doesn't care, because it's no longer respecting technical analysis. It's in an emotional fit. And that's what happened. They got duped. Big money players got duped, and they took revenge on the Great British Pound. And that is the reason why my trades on that currency did not work out. Meanwhile, on the other currencies, it did. Are you guys understanding what I'm saying? Type a number 2 if this is making sense to you. How you learn to do your homework so that next time when this kind of stuff happens, you can learn to disconnect your feelings and not take it personal. And you can be like the professional traders. And this is what they do. They go back. And this is why sometimes you see people who do fundamental videos. And those who's in my group, I gave you several resources to make sure you always know where to go and seek and search for answers. Okay? And this helps you to not be depressed over your trading career. This helps you to just simply be a clean trader who knows where to get the information, because unfortunately for us, we're not in the rooms when this happens. We don't have big institutional money to where we can be there the instant things happen and know exactly what the big boys are going to do. We always get the echo of it later on. So I'm still trying to find a way to be right there to get the instant information. I promise you, if I ever do find that source, I'm going to let you guys know so the average street retailer can get the same exact information at the exact same moment that all the big boys do. But right now, they ain't respecting Uncle P like that. But I'm gonna find a way, okay? So that we can take action in the exact moment that they're doing it too. And I know y'all have these things such as the order flow and this and that, but when people are having, when the markets are having a hysterical emotional fit, unlike what you're learning today not to do, they don't care about any of that order flow stuff. They don't care about none. They don't care. They don't care. They're just going to dump in mass production. They're just going to dump, 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 dump. And that is why I lost the trades. So what do you think I felt after I did my homework on the actual currency pair? Notice what I had to do. I didn't have to do digging into me. Oh, why am I always failing? Why am I always taking a loss? Why am I? And that's the analysis that some of you guys do. Why am I always failing? I try so hard. I got 50 trading systems. I got 10, 15,000 indicators and nothing seems to work. What's wrong with me? That's exactly the reason. Because you're talking about you when you should be talking about it. And I had to divert my emotions to do what I know what's best, and that's to do my homework to find out exactly was it what happened with that currency pair, because I clearly seen it acted completely out of its norm. It was not normal. And that's what happened. The investors who bought into the Great British Pound based off of the bank promising them that they were going to start paying them interest on their money. And when they came out with the announcement last week, they broke that promise and people were pissed. And that's why it dropped. So it wasn't anything that I've done wrong, because all the other trades seem to have worked out fine. Now, let me say this real quick. You remember I told you we won 10 of them and then 3 of them were at break even. Well, actually, here's what actually happened with those. They weren't break even. They actually came, and which is why I was telling you guys I did that video. That came into break even, 3 of them. Do you know they dropped within 1 to 2 or 3 pips from our take profit before shooting back up? I was like, oh my God. That's the reason why I said in the other video, I said if you ever are woke at the time when you're actually in a trade, keep an eye on it. Not every minute like some of you guys, trading addicted people do. You're always on your phone, but you want to just keep an eye on it as a day trader and swing trader, right? Because and if you see that it's coming close and it lights up green, at the bottom, it lights up when it's close to your TP and you're getting excited. If you notice that the price action is starting to slow down and hover over your TP, but it ain't hit it, you might want to just close the trade out, take the money and run. That's what actually happened with the 3, but it happened at a time when I was asleep, typically, which is London time, right? So I wasn't able to tell everybody, hey, let's take our money right now and close out because it's within 2, 3 pips of our take profit. It didn't happen. And then by the time I woke up, it had already came close almost. And then it shot back up to break even. I'll say, all right, let's just close it out and we move on. Had it not been for those, we would have been 13-1 if it wasn't for the Great British Pound and those situations. So here's the deal. In conclusion, what am I doing in my own head to keep me going and to not get overly frustrated? What I'm doing is I'm taking a look at excuses to make myself feel better. Was it something I did wrong? No. Okay, so on the 3 that we walked away at break even, they technically would have been winners because I would have told everybody, hey, it's slowing down. And I do that quite often. That's why on the report you see sometimes it says closed out early in profit. Well, because I'm seeing that it's hitting a major support area and it's refusing to break through to the next level to hit our TP. So some pips is better than none. So I would say, hey, just let's take our money. Whether, hey, if we had a 50 pip take profit, okay, cool. If it's stalling out at 20 pips, then let's just take the 20 and call it a day, right? Okay. So that's the reason why we do that. Okay. Notice the logic. Everything I have to do to keep myself going have to be methodical. It have to be unemotional because I'm playing in an emotionally schizophrenic market. So one of us have to be stable. And either it's going to be the markets or it's going to be me. But both of us can't be crazy. And both of us can't be overly emotional at the exact same time. And that's what y'all problem is. Some of y'all, you just completely overly emotional over every trade. And you dealing with a schizophrenic market. How do you know? Well, it sounds real cute when you say, well, they're creating higher highs and higher lows. That sounds real good until you're in that trade and that thing you got in begin to pull back on you. Well, it's in pullback. I'm in drawdown. Oh, Jesus, I'm in drawdown. But you knew that. You bragged about understanding higher highs and higher lows. See, the market is schizophrenic. It doesn't just shoot up in one direction unless, like the GBP, go to your 4 hour time frame, look at the GBP, USD, and you will see huge candle came out. Huge candles, just ridiculous drops because of news events. Outside of that, it's a normal pattern for it to zigzag up and down. Boom, 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 on its way to the destination, either up or down. That's normal. So you have to be the stabilizer in this relationship called the Forex market. It does act crazy. It is schizophrenic. Even your chart showed you that. Okay. So you have to be the one who comes in with a level head, level emotions, and say, okay, I'm going to do a business transaction with you. And praise God if it works out, but praise God if it doesn't. I go to not to my heart, not to my emotions to resolve a loss. I go where? Fundamentals. And I do my homework and I do my research and find out what actually happened with that pair. Because the biggest key thing that most traders don't do is they don't do their homework to figure out, okay, I am trading, when I say the GBP USD, what I'm actually saying is I'm trading two countries' economies at the exact same time. And if I have no idea what's going on with those countries' economies and I take a loss, then the only way I'm going to feel better is to go back and do my research on what just happened in those two countries' economies. Because that's actually what Forex is. Some of you guys are so into your indicators and your trend lines and your don't you own channels and your Elliott wave theory and your Fibonacci levels until you fail to realize what kind of business you're in, which doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. It never made sense to me that the average retail trader never figures out the exact business that they're actually in. You're in the business of investing into two countries' economies. So it is imperative that you understand, take a glance, do a little bit of research, news, events, whatever, to find out what's going on in those two countries' economies. Had you done that a long time ago, some of you guys wouldn't be as emotionally distraught as you are today. And you would actually become a better trader. But because you've never done that, and nobody's teaching you to do that. This is why you're being destroyed because of your lack of knowledge. And you're all emotions when you don't need emotions, you need information. That's what the Bible is talking about when it says lack of knowledge. My people are destroyed because of lack of what? Not emotions, knowledge. You keep taking trades without understanding what's going on in them countries' economies. For an example, I'll say this and I'm done. The markets have been raggedy over the last several weeks. Why? Because Evergrande in China, that's huge. That's a huge part of their GDP. I think GDP, I think it's like 25% of their GDP is their real estate. So if their real estate market is collapsing and that's 25% of their GDP, well, heck, can you understand why the JPY shot up well beyond? Some of y'all traded it, well beyond its boundaries. And then OPEC, which typically comes out and have, their average meeting, nobody pays attention to it. But this time, guess what? They said we ain't increasing production. We're gonna leave it right where it is, and y'all gonna have to pay us more money for our oil. That's the reason why the CAD had started acting a fool. Are you understanding what? See, do you see how you associate the fundamental news to the currency pair? They don't just move just because they feel like moving. Sometimes when there's normal news, yes, technical analysis will be perfect. Money, what they call it, price action is king. I agree, under normal circumstances. But when there's all these big kind of news events coming out, and then the U.S. they just had to raise the debt ceiling just the other night for last night. Biden's $1.2 trillion bill just got approved. All these different things are hitting big news. And then you had all this news over the last several weeks, okay? Unheard of market. For those who've been trading a long time, I'm telling the truth. The last couple 3 weeks, it's been horrible. It's been horrible. Why? Because the market wasn't driven by technical analysis. It was driven by what? News, fundamentals. So therefore, you have to shift your thinking from your personal technical analysis and start doing a little bit of research on what's going on in these countries' economies and find out, since that's what you're in the business of doing and you want to do it forever, talking about I'm gonna be a full-time trader. You're not gonna make it if you don't do your homework. It's like saying I'm gonna marry this girl, but I don't want to know who she is. What? Are you schizo? Well, I'm gonna marry this man, but well, what's his name? I don't know. Well, what does he do for a living? I don't know. But what? Huh? We gonna be happily married? You don't even know this person, and that's the average retail trader. They have no idea what they're doing. They have no idea what to look for, and they don't even stop to take a look at the news. Or you understand what I'm saying? Hold on one second. Somebody on here. Uh, Um, so anyway, y'all get the point though, okay? So do add fundamental news and you'll begin to see why some of the trades are not working out. It wasn't personal. So I feel 100% better now because like I said, outside of the Great British Pound, it was a phenomenal week, especially during over 60 big news events. Anybody who made profit last week, I applaud you. Now, the good news is this week, which is typically normal, this week I looked at news events and I saw that there were very few news events that should be coming up this week. So that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So we'll see how the week comes out, but I'm just helping you guys to understand, okay? All right. If there's nothing else, have a great day and have a great trading week, you guys, okay? All right.